you will constantly see news articles and reports about people being killed in car accidents and pedestrians being hit, cyclists being hit, just a bunch of fatalities. Recently, there was a report that South Carolina is one of the most dangerous in the nation, and Spartanburg County is one of the most dangerous counties in South Carolina. So we have a huge problem, right? So recently, the past few weeks, and before that as well, I've kind of gotten into the habit of when I see another report about a car accident, um, assuming it's not blatant user error, like someone just, I don't know, being drunk and killing themselves in the car, assuming something like that. If it's clearly a case of dangerous by design, I've been trying to write emails to SCDOT and include the county council people of Spartanburg County, my state rep, my state senator. Try to tell them, hey, this is more than just like the status quo doesn't have to be this way. There are design flaws here which we can fix, and less people will die. This is a big focus of the Strong Towns movement, which I'm a pretty big fan of. That stroads are bad, stroads are dangerous again by design. That's their term. If you change the design to something else, you can have better outcomes for all the users of the road. But anyway, I've sent several of the emails recently, and I got a response today. I put out names, blotted out the names. Obviously, SCDOT secretary is a public enough person. I didn't blot his name out. He'll be fine. But I got this response from an ombudsman, whatever that is, at SCDOT. And he writes a lot of stuff here. He got comments from 3 different traffic engineers to talk about the 3 different roads, which I emailed about. And there's a lot that could be said here, but I'm not gonna right now because that could get really long and really boring. But there was one sentence here which I wanted to comment on. He said here, in the context of Asheville Highway in Spartanburg, he says the goal of this kind of massive arterial road, this kind of stroad, is to maintain the bulk of traffic on primary roads to prevent high volumes of vehicles from diverting onto neighborhood streets. Right? Basically, what he's saying here is we have to have massive arterials because we don't want cars going onto side streets, basically, right? And this kind of touches on one of my biggest beefs about SCDOT and about whoever's in charge of planning the roads here. And I commented on this on one of my earliest videos in my little playlist here. I think it was this one. I was riding my bike from my house to Waffle House, and I was like, there's all these side streets, but none of them connect to anything. They're all dead end roads because nobody wants to have cars going through their neighborhood, right? So, from a car perspective, that means that the roads that actually do connect, your arterials, everyone's got to use them, right? They're the only way to actually go between point A and point B. Most of the side streets are glorified driveways. They don't connect, so they're useless. And so, obviously, from a car perspective, that causes a lot of congestion on the main roads. It forces you to widen them over and over and over again because the side streets aren't helping. They're not pulling their own weight. And from the perspective of a pedestrian or a cyclist, they're super dangerous because you can't walk on these quiet side streets like you can in a city grid in an older neighborhood, right? If you've got a grid, you can walk on the quieter roads. They're not all going to be equally busy, right? If you like Manhattan's a grid, not all those streets are equally busy. If you're walking your bike and you can intentionally choose the quieter, slower ones for safety purposes, right? As well as shortcuts, because you need a shortcut if you're walking, because walking is pretty slow. So this emphasis here about we got to have big chubby arterials, we got to widen them whenever we get to 12,000 ADT, which is an acronym that probably means something daily trips. I don't know what average. Yeah, there we go. Average daily trips probably. But like this focus on arterials, they're always going to be the heavy lifters. We got to do everything we can to keep vehicles off of side streets. It's just so bad. Again, Because what it means is SCDOT, they don't really believe, they don't even, I mean, cities aside, counties aside, SCDOT does not believe in street grids. They think as long as we have enough lanes on our arterials, we're going to be okay. Again, as I've already said, my problem with that is one, you're so congestible, right? You have one road, very little redundancy. You have one accident, and the road is, kaput for hours, right? It's bad for safety too, because the more lanes you add, the more complicated the roads get. Like around here, we have 6 and 8 and 10 lane roads if you include the median, which you can also drive on, and the shoulders and the turn lanes. You have 10 lane roads, which are also theoretically high speed, right? Because they're arterials. And then when you have all kinds of possibility for accidents on those roads, including head-on and T-bone, the most fatal, and again, at very high speeds. So yeah, SCDOT, they're panacea. They're silver bullet for all of our problems is just keep adding lanes to the arterials. So at this point, I guess I'm gonna keep writing emails. I mean, there's not really much a normal person can do to make a change, but I was not filled with that particular response. It wasn't all horrible. Not everything he's saying is horrible, but that particular one, I was like, wait, we really need to have connected street grid, right? And there are better ways to deal with traffic on side streets, keeping it safe and slow. Like that's the thing. Don't prohibit it. Don't ban it by not connecting the streets. There are ways, there are methods that all kinds of entities, DOTs or their equivalents in other countries and cities, even here in America, have to allow traffic permeability through side streets, but to keep it slow and keep it safe. It's not just speed bumps, okay? Like there are other methods that can also be looked at, and I feel like this is kind of like the intellectually lazy way of planning. Just don't worry about it. Forget about it. No side street traffic at all, and then everything on the arterials. So unfortunately, until this changes, we're going to continue to be plagued with dangerous, high-speed, multi-lane stroads all over South Carolina. So not very encouraging. I really wish. I'm probably going to run back and just say, okay, thanks for your response. Can you tell me what your plan is to make these places safer, right? Saying the status quo is fine is not good enough.